I had a consultation with a lady, I guess it was yesterday, that's got essential tremors. And that means no known etiology. Have y'all ever heard of essential tremors?
Yeah.
Like that, but they don't know what causes them. Even in the face, that you'll have them. And the way doctors decide that these are essential tremors is they rule out Parkinson's, they rule out Bell's palsy, they rule out anything else that it could be that you can actually diagnose and make a determination that that's what it is. And when they don't have anything else left, it's called essential tremors, which means it's tremors with, and you can pass around and feel how, that's like seafood, feel to it, how it occurs in families a lot of times, and worse with stress. So the self-medication drug of choice is alcohol. And that calms it down. Of course, then you got the issue of drinking too much booze all the time to calm this down. And so we're talking about possible treatments. Herbal-wise, what would you think? No, don't even do. It's where we're going, but no.
Related, so men?
Well, we don't know. So we're having to run on some assumptions. Nope, you're somewhere on the right track. Valerian.
Oh.
Why valerian? Because valerian sedates the spinal nerves. It calms the firing of the autonomic nervous system.
So you treat it systemically.
You're treating symptoms because you're not treating cause, but you're trying to treat what might be the cause because nobody knows. Herbalists, naturopaths, allopathic chemical, nobody knows. It's just there. So I look at it from the standpoint of, okay, if it's been known that alcohol, which is a depressant, is I won't say it doesn't cure it, but it's a fairly effective treatment, then what else could you do? You look at sedating without putting somebody under, because then they can't function. It's just as bad.
Lobelia?
Possibly lobelia, skullcap. What else? Chamomile, passion flower. All of those are potential herbs to use separately or in conjunction together. Further down the line, then, if we're looking at running under the possible assumption that if it's manifesting itself in a nervous condition, that it's nerve related, you go to lion's mane, because lion's mane is the only, quote, herb out there that regenerates nerve cells. It regenerates the myelin sheath around the nerve.
So that's also connected to MS too,
You got.
right?
I use this for people with MS, Parkinson's, muscular dystrophy, even anything in that nature. I go to this because if it's anything to do with the deterioration of the nerve cell, the axons, the dendrites, then this is the best approach. This is the most logical approach to take. And this is one that in China was so valued and so rare that if you weren't royalty or a very rich nobleman, they'd put you to death for grabbing this off a tree and using it. I mean, it was not common. Here, from about October through January, you can find it. A little bit of rain come through, like it's done now. You'll pop one up here. We saw that one down here is 50 feet up the tree, but you'll see them about 10, 12 feet up a tree. Look like a big white cupcake stuck to them. In fact, this is more than one. You can see where this is a colony. See the one there, 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 there. You pass around, it's got a fairly, to me it reminds me of coconut. Until you cook it, then it tastes like shrimp. When it turns yellow, it can start to get us, or they get real old again, sort of a sour taste to it. That's why we didn't cook this one, because it may not, probably not want to ruin you to these things, but taste one that's not good.
I don't know what though.
We're going to tincture this. Now normally, even though this is not a woody fungi, we call it one of the woody fungi because it's not a traditional mushroom looking fungus that grows, and it grows on trees. The proper way to prepare them is a long aqueous extract. That means you boil it for 2 to 3 hours. A slow, low boil, 2 to 3 hours, and that extracts the medicinal value out. On the other hand, if you want to, and then you can tincture that liquid. So in which case you'd have to go up to 190 proof and use a hydrometer, mix the two liquids together until you got down to your 35% tincture. If you added just 80 proof vodka, like a simpler tincture, you dilute it down too much. So you do that, but what you have to do is you have to let it sit a longer period of time because it's partly ethanol, partly water, so it's not going to, this does not extract well in alcohol alone. It's a water extraction that it needs. So you leave it a long period of time and it gives the water a longer time to work on it, but the alcohol itself acts as a preservative, acts to concentrate it, etc., so that it, you can do it, but I would turn around and leave this no less than a month at the very least, normally about 3 months. And then we're going to just do in this case, a simpler tincture. Now next month in class, we're going to use the percolator, that three funnel percolator, and make one of the eclectic tinctures.
Tell the ones that don't know anything about the class, how do you get involved in the class? Go to the website.
Let's go to the website. You can sign up. Call me. Runs every second weekend of the month, Saturday, Sunday. Now, putting this, doesn't matter what you put it in, quart, pint, whatever amount you want. You just want to pack it full, and that's why they call this a simpler's tincture, because this is the very most simple way to do this, and it still be very effective. Now the thing that I disagree with what you see in a lot of books is they'll talk about you got to let it sit for 2 weeks, shake it twice a day. Well, that's not necessarily true. It teaches you patience, but most everything's going to be tinctured in a short period of time, because like when we do the percolator, by the time it got to the last funnel and out, it was done. And that was the way they were made pharmaceutically. Oh, and the second most important thing is to keep people out of your alcohol. Because they will
some extra protein too here.
Yeah, that's not going to hurt
Same
it.
deals.
Yeah. See, because you need to turn around and filter this.
Really happy.
For a very brief period of time.
When you say filter it, what kind of media are you talking about filtering it through?
Paper towel,
Paper towel,
muslin, whatever, coffee filter. Yeah. And that's not to really filter out anything other than sediment and pieces of foreign material. Sometimes you get pieces of bark and stuff in it.
Does the bark, would the bark make any difference?
Not in these small amounts. Nah, won't make any bit of. It won't add. It won't take away. Notice how it's gotten rubbery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's real rubbery. But this is the only. I don't know of any other herb, any other fungus at all that regenerates nerve cells like this will do. This is it. Now there are other things you would do in conjunction with it, but those herbs do not do the regeneration or anything.
And how old is this?
When did you pick it? It's been in the freezer, by the
Been
way.
in the freezer, okay, so it's been frozen.
About a month ago? Yeah.
I've got some of the freezers been there since we got it a year and a half ago.
Well, eventually, you got to worry about freezer burn, but we just picked that one about the same time last month down at Gallant. Gosh, it's this big.
Mm.
I mean, the rest of it's in the freezer right now. Actually, that's going to work out to be about the right amount. Now, by being a simpler's tincture, you're not as easily saying, well, 1 milliliter of liquid is equal to so many milligrams. That's not the point of it. Because what you're getting is something that is strong enough, but it's a much more folkloric way of doing things. But it works. The only downside to any of this, I got a fuzz or something, is, we were talking about that earlier, is it's mainly extracting alcohol soluble unless you let it go for a long period of time, because that's what 90 proof, Ed. So yeah, so that's 45% water, 45%. Well, half and half, but yes, 45 is partly water, partly alcohol. And so in order to get the water part of it out, you need to let it go longer. The minimum you're going to do is an 80 proof alcohol for this. If you go anything less, what we'll do next month is you got to take into consideration that's got water in it. Unless you dried it, in which case you're going to do a different ratio. So the water in it is going to further dilute your end product. And I prefer going with about a 30 to 35% tincture. I think that's a good level. You can get less, you can get more, but that's a good level to go. Now, if we were doing reishi, hen of the woods, chicken of the woods, crack cap polypore, any of those, and we wanted to tincture them, we would go with 180 proof, because they are hard. Well, the hen of the woods is not, but I like a higher proof on it. But the hard mushrooms or resinous woods, you have to go with a high proof alcohol to pull that medicinal value out, or it won't be nearly as effective. And then you take that 180 proof, use distilled water, and dilute it until you get to your 30-35%. In which case you end up with a lot more. So in this case, we'll just fill it till it covers, and then push it down. Get all the air out of it. See how that mushroom, this thing will absorb it like crazy. And your tincture is what color?
It's brown.
Brownish yellow. That's what these will make. It'll be a pretty color.
But you said you could use it dried as well.
No, I didn't say dried. You can use it dried and then tincture that. Yes.
Okay.
But you're still tincturing it.
Right. Is there any benefit to dehydrating it and drying it, preserving it that way? No.
Yeah.
Could you grind it up and put it in capsules?
No, I would not. I think that for people that sell you chaga, reishi, or any of those dried up in capsules, you're wasting your money. Because, like I said, it's a long-term aqueous extract that produces the maximum benefit from it. And, you know, it's like buying chaga as a tea, you know, in the tea bags. How long are you going to steep it? 5 minutes max. And it doesn't have time to pull all that. You'll get the flavor out of it, but you're not getting the medicinal value. Not very much of it anyway.
Chaga, that's not local though, is it?
No. Closest you'll get chaga here is Big Butt, which is outside of Asheville, near what's the big mountain there? Mount Mitchell. And we've gone up there, and where we picked it was about between 5,500 and 6,000 feet. That's where you got to go, because that's when you get to the same climatic zone as northern Michigan, New York, places like that, and you get the same temperatures and stuff. And so then it'll pop up on the birch trees. And it was a climb and a half, because that trail that goes up is zigzag, wasn't it though? Whew. It was a corker, but it's pretty up there. That's good. He loved the back of my truck.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be plenty. And with this, cap it, and people say shake it twice a day. Why? What's the need? If it's sitting in alcohol, it's going to be extracting it.
So once you cap it, you don't have to refill it for any reason?
Yeah, that's why I made sure that to get it all absorbed in there where there's excess. Yeah. What I would do, well, that one's still got space in it, so better check that. Ooh, yeah.
You're gonna need to add some to that.
Yeah. That's why I got to check it, because any part that's not covered in alcohol, can go bad on you. But that's not going to happen. This is it's got it so absorbed in it that it would lower the level. That'll do it. And it doesn't hurt if you want to every once in a while. Give it a shake. It makes you feel better, but we'll watch that. And then before we quit here in a little bit, we'll double check, and because it'll absorb all it's going to absorb. And it's like canning. You know, when you can, it's the last thing you do is get all the bubbles out. And then don't get stopped on the way home. It's not
I was gonna say.
I was telling somebody, I said, they're saying, you know, get out and walk the line and count, go from Z to A. Crap, I couldn't do that if I wasn't drunk. I would Z, what is it? Y, W, X. After that, I lose it.
It's here. Just go ahead and lock me up.
That's it. Just call it a day. And that's the basic way to make most tinctures. Is just remember, if it's resinous, things like cherry, Ed can tell you from experience how long it can take cherry to dissolve even in alcohol.
Months and months.
Months and months. You use 180 proof.
So that's not just going to dissolve.
No, it will not dissolve. That will, when you get through with that, what I would do then is take all of this out. Actually, you could just leave it. It doesn't hurt anything. And you squeeze all the material out, and then there's your tincture's the liquid left over. But actually, I would just leave this in here. It doesn't hurt a bit. It just gets stronger and stronger.